you are a Kashmiri Pandit. Your family was part of the exodus. Do you have any memory of your life in Kashmir during that conflict stage?
I do. I was born in Srinagar. I lived there for the first couple of years, and then I used to come because my dad was went to National School of Drama, and then he was working in Mumbai, Bombay, then with Sham Benegal on a show called Bharat Ek Khoj and Yatra and all those things. And I remember that we used to keep going back and forth, but then because I was studying there, so I remember nursery, जूनियर केजी वहाँ हुई थी, सीनियर केजी आई थिंक बम्बे में हुई थी, फिर फर्स्ट स्टैंडर्ड हम वापस कश्मीर गए थे रहने, एंड दैट्स व्हेन द टेंशन स्टार्ट ब्रूइंग देयर. But before I get into that, you have to understand, for me, it's from a perspective of a 6-year-old. And that's how I saw it. I remember, I remember the great things about Srinagar, my school, and going to Dal Lake with the family, or going to Pahalgam, And then I remember them being stressed, because as a 6-year-old, you don't really know what's happening. And your parents and your family is trying to protect you as much as they can. But you still hear about things, right? Like you would one off hear something. I remember there used to be this thing, कि if you heard a loud sound, there was always this confusion कि कहीं cylinder फटा है कि बम फटा है. So I remember like that as a chatter sometimes. I remember there were times where at night, for some reason, you wouldn't turn on lights because there was a risk of a stone coming into the house, because maybe it was declared that lights are not going to come out in this evening. And then to top it all, the one harsh experience I remember was there was a blast below our house while we were in the house, and I remember.
Where were you, Habakadal?
No, we were. Habakadal was where my parents, my father's side lived. I think we were near Nehru Nagar, or I remember this was very close to my school, Burnhall, which was like 5 minutes away from there. There used to be an ice cream factory just opposite. I remember that also, and there was this blast, and I remember sitting and playing cards with my cousin brother. We were playing this game called Bluff. And all of a sudden, I just remember being thrown off. You couldn't hear anything. I just remember I saw just smoke and glass shatter. But it was all visual. Like I remember it was like a film scene. I remember like going upside down and seeing all of that. And then there was just darkness. And then my memories of like waking up at some point, and it's weird. I can't even say if it was terror on people's faces, because there were people just running around. And I remember it was our house at some point. One of the rooms, the floor had opened up because I think the explosion happened just below, and then the entire street was filled with people. But weirdly, as silly as it, I remember in the evening, the only thing that I was looking at was like our area was on the television, and people were talking about that, and everybody was calling home. So I was like, we were being made to feel important. And so it's like, that's why I said the perspective was of a 6-year-old. And there were times in Habakadal also, sometimes when stone pelting would start, and then the army would come, and I remember my other cousin and I would like look through the windows and not understand what was kind of transpiring. So for me, what happened is, after that, and after we left and we came to Mumbai, not knowing that we wouldn't be going back, and we were still trying to figure out, I think our parents kind of did an amazing job of kind of sheltering us from it. But at 6 and 7, you always heard people talk about it, and you saw people getting emotional about it and stressed about it, and you knew something was wrong. And I remember there used to be this VHS of news track that used to cover a lot of this, and of course nobody would let us see it, but sometimes in passing, somebody is watching it and people were getting emotional and all of that. So I think somewhere as a kid, I kind of wanted to put a block to that, and that's why even while growing up, I never actively tried to pursue of what's going on, what happened, why did it happen, because I thought that when you're a kid, those questions may be like, okay, you don't get involved in this maybe. And then anyways, when people were discussing it, you saw that it wasn't a pleasant thing. So I think somewhere I kind of built that wall to not ask those questions, and whatever information is coming my way, I will try to understand that, but I've not gone digging deep to see what is the actual problem, when is it going to get solved. And of course, I've been in rooms where people have discussed and debated, and everybody has their own point of view. I have not gone trying to look for solutions, because I just thought that this is something which kind of makes at least the near India ones feel some kind of pain, and they've kind of guarded us from experiencing it, and that's where it is. And I think, I don't know if it is that, but I haven't since gone back. My parents have, my sister has, and I don't think I don't know what it is, but like sometimes some things happen. Like I remember once I wanted to go, but then those massive floods happened there, and we just couldn't go. And the only time I did kind of drive through Srinagar was when we were shooting for a film called Kalank, and we were shooting in Kargil. So we had to land in Srinagar and kind of drive through. And all I was most excited was about talking to everybody in Kashmiri, because I speak the language.
You speak Kashmir?
Yeah,
Okay.
not very well, but I mean, well enough to communicate with maximum number of Kashmiris, and I get very excited when I meet somebody who speaks the language. So I was very interested in like stopping over for a meal, but I didn't kind of end up spending a lot of time there. And again, like I've always made plans, but I have somehow not actually gone and
You
spent a
don't
lot
need
of time there.
Kargil, you go to Ladakh for your bike rides, but not to Srinagar.
And that's the other thing. So once when I wanted to ride to Ladakh, and I said I'm going to go to Srinagar and get the bikes there, and we'll ride all the way from there. As luck would have it, Zojila Pass had a landslide and that road was blocked. So we were advised not to ride from there. So the bikes went through Manali and we had to directly land in Ladakh.
जब होना हुआ होगा, I guess.
I really hope so, because otherwise, honestly, I only have the fondest and the most beautiful memories of Srinagar. It's just that when I landed this time, when I looked at the Dal while driving through, it somehow didn't match up to how it was in my head.
Yeah, that always happens. The childhood image is different
Yeah.
and adult is different.
So I that's the other fear I have. Like, it's very beautiful in my head, the way it is.
Yeah.
It
But
definitely
did
will
your
be more-
parents tell you that we have to move, or did they make it look organic? कि हम निकल रहे हैं यहाँ से? Did you realize, or did they ever talk to you about that move?
I don't think it was like that. I don't think we ever sat down to discuss what was happening. I think a lot of times when stress was happening, it was happening when you were around. So nobody was, I mean, they were trying to shelter you from it, but I think they also knew that you knew. And I don't know, maybe we never sat down and said, okay, this is what has happened. What are you feeling? I don't think that era was so much into discussing feelings.
You went to Bombay, right?
We came to Mumbai, yes, we came to Bombay.
Straight from there.
Yes, because like I said, my dad was here figuring out his life. And then, of course, then he settled down
But
here.
he was doing Gulshan, Gulfam.
So that was being shot in Srinagar, actually. That was also being shot there, which, of course, during peak, just around the emergency time, they also had to shoot there, and then they built a set of those houseboats in Film City, and they concluded the show in Bombay.
Do subscribe to the ANI Clips channel to get shorter versions of this podcast. Click here to watch the full episode.